Hello, everyone, and welcome to the pre-nationals edition of The Top Cut. I am your host, Josue Crims Rojano, and with me are all four other members of The Top Cut tonight. Introducing first, yes, I planned this out, boys. I even have my cards with me. Introducing first, we have the man that is perhaps best known for his heartbreaking runner-up finish to Yuta Komatsuda at the World Championships. His keychain consists of not only a four-leaf clover, but also a rabbit's foot, the number 7, and a lucky horseshoe. He is Michael Kramawat!
I'm supposed to clap?
Next, we've got someone perhaps best known for his awesome nickname. This player powers over the competition. Yet the only thing more intimidating than his appearance are his tantrums. He is the great White Hope, Benjamin Potter!
Thank you. No, don't really hold it. Please clap.
Next member struck a personal friendship with Ric Flair. He was once coveted as one of the most feared and dominant players to ever play the game. But let's not talk about him currently. He is Drew Woo! Holton! And last but not least, I have no idea what I'm about to say about this guy because I didn't write it. But he is a perennial all-star. This man is the 2009 Pokemon TCG National Champion, 2010 third-place finisher, 2011 second-place finisher. This man has struck fear into all of his opponents. The only thing more awesome than his national accomplishments is this Kermit the Frog impersonation. He is Kyle Puka Sukovic!
Yeah.
If you guys are wondering why Bruce Buffer still has a job, so am I, because I deserve to be up there with him. Thank you guys very much for tuning in. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that, Rod. I'm sorry.
And we also have Krim here. Yeah, he's alright.
Yeah, that's why I didn't say anything about myself, because I didn't know what I would say. I have a cool nickname. I have a good personality. I have a cool haircut right now. That's about all I got. But, all right. Tonight, we're actually going to be having a lot of cool discussions. Hopefully, you guys are going to be able to enjoy them all. We're going to be able to, or we're going to be talking about Canadian Nationals, which just happened. We're going to be talking about the results. We're going to be talking about Pokemon's U.S. Nationals, which is happening this coming weekend. Not in 2 days or whatever, but in a weekend and 2 days. We're also going to be talking about our fantasy draft that we're going to be holding for ourselves. You guys are going to be able to tune in, enjoy us making a fool of ourselves, picking players who are going to be competing, and hopefully one of us picks the champion, because that would be pretty cool. We are going to try to have something on the line, some sort of like a cool bet, but we haven't come up with what yet. So if you guys, the viewers, can come up with something, go ahead and type it on the chat or on our Facebook page. If we see one that would be really cool, then obviously we'll go with that one. But obviously no money involved, just fun bet. And after that, we'll be taking your guys' questions and answers. So
Won't be fun for the loser, that's for sure.
Yeah, exactly. It's got to be not fun for the loser. Or if it's fun, it's got to be embarrassing and fun. So either way, how are you guys? How are you, all of you guys? Yeah. I had a really cool intro, and then we have this. So
It's all downhill from there.
okay. So Kyle, how have you been?
I've been doing all right. I'm pretty excited for Nationals. You know, it's a big event. I think it's probably the most fun event of the year. Looking forward to seeing most of you. Yeah, that's about it. Just Indianapolis is less than a week away from me.
All right. Boring but cool. That's fine. What about you, Drew?
I've been pretty busy with work and stuff. I got my last CPA test hopefully on Wednesday, and then I'm off to Indy to do nothing. I can't play, but hopefully I can do some coverage or something like that for you guys and spread the Top Cut wealth a little bit.
That's my boy holding it down for us retired full. Or we're not retired, right? We're just taking a break. Is that
we're just in reserves. We're just ready. We're waiting.
We're bench
for the right
warmers.
moment. Yeah.
bench warmers. What about you, Potter?
I've been doing pretty good. Excited for nationals. Some of you may know I declared myself retired after Maryland State's, but I'm coming out of retirement just for the fans. And I'm going to be playing in nationals, doing my best. But I'm not playing in nationals to be the national champion. I'm playing in nationals to be the world champion. Yeah.
All right, and finally, Prank.
Been good, and excited for nationals. So that's pretty much it. Yeah.
Somehow his answer was more boring than Kyle's. You know what? I've been reading the chat. That's why I was kind of lagging it. And the best thing we've got for a bet so far is Harlem Shake. So hopefully we can come up with something a lot cooler because that's 2 months ago, man.
Well, I mean, if you do the Harlem Shake, it would have to be like everyone but the winner.
Hopefully I would win then. Anyways, do we get started with Canadian Nationals, or do you guys want to do maybe the first round of the draft? Or no, let's do Canadian Nationals first. Is that cool?
Yeah, that's fine.
You guys all right with that? All right, Canadian Nationals. Yeah. That just happened. Zach Lesage won using Blastoise, actually, which is a deck which obviously I haven't been playing very much, but it's a deck that I thought kind of went under the radar for a little bit. Obviously, it was still a tier 1 deck, but the other decks kind of started coming over the top, decks like Plasma and whatnot. So it winning, interesting to me. Definitely took me by surprise. Canadian Nationals. The results for that, please, if we want to stay on topic for that. Pram.
Well, I'll give it to Kyle, who's about to talk something.
All right.
I was just going to say, Blastoise took first, Darkrai took second. I think another Blastoise was in top 4. And maybe Plasma. I don't know what the other deck was.
I think it was Plasma, but I'm not totally sure.
Let's just say it's Plasma.
All right.
So, water Pokemon in every deck. It's looking real moist up there in Canada.
It is. Canada definitely had a moist season this, last weekend? Did this happen like 4 days ago?
It happened last weekend.
Yeah. 4 or 5 days ago. Wow. Time flies. Somebody save me. Somebody.
Okay, so that tournament was pretty cool. Or interesting, rather. On the bubble streamed a little bit, so that was nice of them. And we saw some interesting results from it. You know, Blastoise was doing pretty good. It actually was like half the top cut, something like that. And some controversial news. So I guess I'll just stop beating around the bush about that one. And
I said stay on topic, man.
Hey, man, that's part of the topic, isn't it?
Go for it.
It is part of the topic.
All right. So basically, there's been some people questioning shuffling techniques in some of these videos that were recorded, and yeah, you shouldn't do that.
Okay, can you be a little bit less vague?
Yeah. Okay, so basically, what was at least recorded was something called a double nickel. And basically what that is you pile shuffle your deck, and you do it in such a way where your deck has an expected draw within like a certain range, and yeah, that's pretty much what happened like in a lot of the games that were played. So
yeah, pretty much you just organize your deck in Pokemon Trainer Energy, like you separate them all out. Then you do 2 5-pile shuffles, and then you don't really shuffle the deck. Basically, when you pile shuffle, it's not really randomizing the deck because you know what order it's going to go in. And that's exactly why it's such a common, honestly, a stacking or a cheating technique. Which, unfortunately, we saw it happen a couple times on that stream. So that is the big controversy we have going on right now.
Yeah, like or 1 second, just
go for it.
Yeah, well, the goal isn't to like get a specific 7 cards. What you're trying to look for is a distribution. So you want like maybe 2 trainers, hopefully one of them a supporter, you know, maybe a Pokemon, an energy, and then like 2 whatever cards. and you look for like a certain distribution of for your deck rather than a completely randomized deck.
It's interesting that you mentioned the word distribution, because a couple of times when I first started hearing this argument, I heard the word distribution coupled with the word fairly. So fairly distributed deck. It's it's a very evenly distributed deck. It's very fair, etc. And obviously it's not. So that's what we're actually going to start covering pretty soon. Let's just get both Potter and Andrew's thoughts on actually exactly what. Let's just focus on Blastoise winning. Do you guys feel like Blastoise was a strong deck choice for Canadian Nationals? We'll go with Potter.
Yeah, I think Blastoise is a strong deck for anything in this format. You know, when you look at like the maximum like output of damage and how much damage you can do and how quickly you can just take the prizes, Blastoise has a significant advantage. Like, you can take 2 prizes on turn 2 if you just run really good, and then on turn 3 and then turn 4. And sure, maybe they'll end you down to 2, but then you still get to draw one at the beginning of your turn, and you can still superior energy retrieval with your 3 cards if you have it. So the power that you can do with like, you know, good draws or medium draws, or you might just be so far ahead you can take a few turns. Like that power spike that you get once you get the ball rolling is really huge and unparalleled.
Yeah, so you're saying it's got the biggest end game in the game right now.
Oh yeah, definitely.
How does it counteract the early game that, you know, a deck like Plasma might be able to dish out on it?
You know what's really good about it is, sure, you have Squirtle with low HP, but unlike Eels, like the Squirtles on the bench aren't going to take damage. It has 60 HP instead of 40. It's harder to knock out. Keldeo prevents you from getting locked into place. It's got a lot of answers to a lot of different counters.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So really, I mean, obviously it's not foolproof against those decks, otherwise it would have just been the entire top cut. But it has some game. It has some game against these decks, and, you know, given some reasonable draws, it can definitely pull off some wins. A lot easier than a deck like Ray Eels can, for example.
Right.
Okay,
I mean,
fair enough.
I think, sorry, just to interrupt. I think you're kind of downplaying the popularity of Blastoise. This has been a deck that's just been around the whole season, and especially since Black Kyurem EX came out, it got even stronger. So this has been a top deck consistently. This is not like a surprise to see Blastoise winning. It's I would argue it's top 2 with Plasma. Blastoise is second best probably, and especially in Canada they can use the French tropical beaches, so the deck is more accessible to a lot of people. So that's probably why you saw a lot more of it there.
That's actually a really good point. And yeah, I didn't mean to downplay the popularity of it. It's obviously a very, very good deck, and like I said, it's got probably the best end game in the game currently. So any deck that can, you know, lay claim to that, it's gonna have a good following, and it's gonna have good showing. I mean, that's just the way the game is always gonna be. But yeah, the fact that it beat a deck that is just so fast just stood out to me. But I want to get Drew's opinion before we move on.
Yeah, like Kyle said, I would say Blastoise and Plasma are my 2 top-ranked decks in this format right now. The thing with Blastoise is, you know, energy acceleration decks are historically great in formats, and Blastoise, Rain Dance, or whatever it's called right now, is awesome.
Deluge.
Rain Dance is a little...
Let's just say Rain Dance.
This is better than Rain Dance.
And, you know...
It sounds like a water bottle, dude. But
It's all the Pokemon moist. Water energy everywhere.
You know, you got your Fiji water, but I got my Deluge. Anyways, like Kyle said, it's been around for a while, but it keeps getting these cards that, you know, are very synergistic with it coming out. You know, get the super energy retrieval, the Black Kyurem, stuff like that. And one thing with Blastoise is, you know, you gotta get a good hand, and maybe that plays into our next topic. Do these players feel like they have to, you know, go through their deck and maybe get an advantage against the Plasma decks by sort of rearranging, stuff like that? I don't know, man. You don't really see it with the Plasma decks like you do with the Blastoise decks. All this cheating I've seen is with Blastoise decks.
Whoa, he used the C word. Use the
I was
C
trying
word.
to,
Stacking, shuffling.
I was trying very hard to take that word out of my
All right.
vernacular for my description.
There was the S word, the D word, the V word,
Questionable.
anyone with the C word. All right, man.
Questionable shuffling.
You know what though? The truth is that it was bound to somebody was bound to say it, and it wasn't going to be Drew. It was going to be me because.
I actually said it a while ago, but it's alright.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I was going to say it too. You know, it is cheating. There is definitely a level of cheating when it comes to this type of stuff. And obviously, we're just going to immediately jump out of the, you know, oh, hey, you know, Blastoise did great. Blastoise won the national championships for Canada. And we're going to jump into a more serious topic, into a more, I don't really know what the word is here, but it's definitely more important to me anyways. And that's the fact that we have had kind of a situation where people are either unknowingly shuffling poorly, and I have to say, I really do
like
have
an
to say,
oxymoron. Unknowingly shuffling poorly. Come on, man.
is it?
I mean, I know what he's saying.
Yeah. Anyways, you know, it could be accidental. You know, it could definitely be a situation where people just aren't informed enough, and some people want to give others the benefit of the doubt. So really, I think it's on up to the player base and the judging staff and the Pokemon company in general to kind of make everyone aware of the fact that there is definitely a proper procedure for this type of stuff. And there's people that there's always going to be people in this world that are going to be trying to take advantage of certain edges. That's just the way the world works. And currently, we're faced with an epidemic where people are trying to take advantage of a situation that nobody had really cared about before. Whether it had been because the Pokemon TCG really hadn't gotten that kind of coverage before, or the fact that it was never really considered a top tier competitive game or whatnot. The situation stands where now we have a situation where we have people that are getting an unfair advantage, and this advantage, whether you want to call it cheating or whether you want to call it accidental advantage, it's the fact is that it's unfair, and somebody that's performing certain shuffling techniques is going to have a very big advantage actually over the course of 100 games or 1,000 games or whatever, even in one game, over somebody who doesn't. And that's what we're going to talk about right now.
Sorry, I just want to say, I don't think you can say what they did was accidental. They knew exactly what they were doing. I just don't know if they realized the implications of what they were doing. I think that's probably what you're trying to say.
Okay, that is fair, and actually that's more accurate.
So you don't do that every time on accident.
Whoops! My deck is in a perfect order. How'd that happen?
Okay, so to reiterate what Pram was saying earlier was, what you do is you separate your deck by trainers, Pokemon energy. You essentially shuffle it, and you try to get this even spread where no matter what 7-card hand you draw, you're going to have at least one trainer to get yourself out of a bad situation. You're going to have one Pokemon to hopefully not have to mulligan too often, and you're going to have some energy and whatnot. So that's what these decks are trying to do. They're trying to get this even spread so that they don't get unlucky. And in a sense, they're removing a random factor from the game. Some of you players of more competitive card games like Magic or who knows, even Yu-Gi-Oh or whatnot, might be more aware of the fact that that's just blatant cheating, and it is. It's actual blatant cheating, and you're not supposed to have this advantage, and that's what we're going to discuss right now. So I've talked enough. I want Kyle actually to kind of take over for now and say his piece.
Yeah, I think you bring up a good point, because in Pokemon, this is not something we're used to dealing with. For as long as Pokemon's been around, it's been a really clean game. There's been very few instances of people actually cheating over the years. I'm sure it's happened here and there, but not to the volume that it's happened in other card games. So we don't really expect to have to crack down on it. We just kind of expect it to be a friendly game and all that stuff. So when it happens, I think people's first reaction is to be like, no, there's no way, that can't happen. Like, this is Pokemon. This is it's like a friendly, fun game. But I think the reality is, I mean, you watch those videos. They're posted on, I think, On the Bubbles YouTube page. You can see, I mean, if that happened in any other card game, you got to think those guys would just be disqualified on the spot and kicked out of the event. Like, The one guy straight up just separated his deck into 3 piles, Pokemon Trainer Energy, then 5-piled twice, and he presented it for a cut. That was it. Like, you can't do that. That's not right. That's actually just cheating. And I saw another game where, the guy's sitting there shuffling for a while, and then he goes and looks through his deck, and he separates everything out, and then he like shuffles once or twice, and he hands his opponent his deck. Like, again, that's cheating. You undid all your shuffling. You rearranged your entire deck to give yourself, like an even distribution throughout your deck. It's not random anymore. You're pretty much guaranteeing that you're going to get a good hand, which, I mean, that's against the rules. Like, that's what stacking your deck is pretty much. So it's shocking to see. It's disappointing to see, but I think people will come to realize that no matter what their intent was, that it was wrong.
Okay. One thing I want to mention actually is I watched this live, and the very first time I watched it, I immediately caught the first instance where I think others caught it as well. And I said, "Oh man, that's ridiculous." I saw this gentleman shuffle 5-pile, then 5-pile again, then give it a couple of riffles, and that was it. And I was just outraged. And then I watched the next couple of videos that they actually posted after the fact, and they got progressively worse and worse to the point where, as Kyle said, the guy literally just separated his deck by trainers, energy, and Pokemon. Just did a couple of 4-piles, and that was it. No riffles, no anything, and it was just, oh man, it wasn't even shocking anymore after having seen the other ones, but it progressively got worse and worse, and it's just not right. Pram, I want to get your input as well.
Well, when I was watching the incidences, it almost felt like they just wanted to go, "Hey, you pick your 7, I'll pick mine, and let's see who wins."
Yeah, sounds right.
Mental Pokemon.
So it was kind of ridiculous. I don't really think you can do this kind of thing and not know what you're doing. So I think any type of accident or naivety I don't think really should hold for this, because if you ask anyone why did you do that, they'd be like, well, so I draw better. It's like, what? Do you know what you just admitted to doing? So
you would get kicked out from any other card game tournament if you admitted to that.
And like Kyle said, the game's really just, Pokemon really hasn't had to deal with this before. I don't know what, maybe just was like a surge of new players came in and brought in bad habits or something, but this is something that needs to stop. And
where would you develop these bad habits?
Well, you would.
How can you develop these bad habits?
It's real easy. You want to win so bad, and people will just do anything to win, within reason. And if you can get away with this, then you literally just have an increased percentage of winning by doing this, and that's just not right. So yeah, and it really puts a downer on the entire tournament too, especially because this wasn't like in Swiss where maybe this doesn't really have an effect on the tournament. This kind of this kind of almost tainted the entire top cut, because now it's just well, what would have happened if this guy didn't win? So it puts a real downer on the entire event.
To answer your question, why would people start doing this? I guess just look at the reactions that we're getting. Like, these guys, I mean, we're sitting here saying that these guys obviously are, manipulating their deck, they're cheating, but then other people are defending them. Other people are saying oh, it's not that bad. So, if you get caught doing this and then you don't get punished, where's the incentive not to do it, right? You're just getting a free ride, basically. You're just getting an advantage with no downside. Mm-hmm. So if that's the case, why wouldn't they do it?
It's kind of like, hey, we're going to roll this loaded die. I know the numbers where it's loaded, and I'm just going to call them every time, and you get the other numbers. Let's see who wins. So it's pretty bad, but yeah, it really needs to stop, and people need to stop doing these type of things.
Okay, I guess what I was getting at when I asked you where they develop these bad habits is because, and remember, it's my job right now to kind of play the devil's advocate, right? And the main argument that I got from the beginning, from the absolute moment that this happened, was maybe he just doesn't know. Maybe there's just, you know, maybe he was just doing this because it's a habit, and he has no idea that this is incorrect. And that's why at the beginning of the show I mentioned, you know, potentially accidental, because I'm not in their brains. I can't say for 100% certainty, but I can tell you that it's extremely unlikely that any competent competitive player would even not know that this is incorrect. But anyways, that's kind of what I was getting at. Is I was saying, you know what? How can they develop these bad habits accidentally?
I would argue, like,
is your answer no, or is it yes, they can?
First, I would argue, like, just because you don't know it's cheating doesn't mean it's not cheating when you do it. I mean, it's still cheating no matter what.
It's like, I didn't know I wasn't allowed to rob that bank, sir.
Yeah, that's not
my mistake. Can I keep the money?
I want to make something pretty clear, is that before this, there's been a lot of discussion about declumping, and this seems like some sort of natural progression past that, or like, you know, declumping where it worked perfectly, you know. And the reason why people there wasn't that much of a big deal with declumping before is because people just shuffled afterwards, and then, you know, people were like, well, it's not actually cheating, you know, because nothing is happening because people are randomizing the deck. But I want to make something clear that when you declump, you have the intention of cheating. And for me, that's the same exact thing. And you shouldn't do it. I know some people don't really realize, and sure, even after they declump, they shuffle correctly. But you shouldn't do it. And if you declump anyways, even if you shuffle correctly afterwards, you had the intention of manipulating your deck in a way to your advantage. And that's cheating.
Yeah.
Or the intention to cheat.
Yeah, to piggyback.
And nobody should do either of those things.
Yeah, to piggyback off what Ben was saying about declumping, it's kind of like, it's the only reason why it's like legal is because no one can catch it, right? It's kind of like if you stole a candy bar from like a 7-Eleven or something, and then like you didn't get caught. So, you know, it's wrong. You shouldn't do it, but because no one could like prove you're doing anything, then, you know, you can't enforce it. So
yeah, I think declumping kind of like opened up the can of worms, you know. Oh, I can declump, well, what if I just shuffle a couple times afterwards? You know, they're trying to take it as far as they can, and, you know, Pokemon's gonna have to step in, you know, smack some hands, you know, everyone starts shuffling here, and maybe it'll die down. I think they should come down with some maybe not severe penalties, but, you know, let people know this isn't right, and I think it'll go away immediately.
I think you have to be heavy-handed with this, to be honest. Like, otherwise, why will people stop? Like, you have to make examples of people sometimes, and so they just know, like, hey, do you want to be like this guy? No? Well, stop doing that.
I think they were being too complacent, sort of, to come down too hard on people. I give them the benefit of the doubt. I give the players the benefit of the doubt. I hate to think someone would intentionally cheat on camera. Like, how stupid can you be? Like,
well, that's happened before.
I got some news for you, Drew.
All right, one incident, okay.
I don't know.
There are several.
Is your last name Slowpoke?
Just maybe not in this game. You know, the fact of the matter is that people do this all the time on, you know, in every game. It's very new to the Pokemon TCG, so I'll admit that it's kind of like flabbergasting at first to like be like, "Whoa, what? This can happen here in my game?" But it's happened for years and years and years in other games. Not necessarily just card games either. It's happened in any type of game you can think of. It's happened. That's just the way it is. People try to get an advantage, and they say, "You know what? The repercussions are, you know, worth it. What I want this $5,000. I want this $20,000, $40,000, and if I get caught, so be it. Meh. You know, I was gonna quit anyways or whatever." But if I don't get caught, if I get to pull this bad boy off, then I might as well have just stolen the Mona Lisa or something like that, you know. So that's kind of the counter argument to your argument, Drew.
Yeah. And there was like a big discussion a couple of weeks ago about another incident that had been brought to light. You'd think they would both these players have been in the know, and seen that, and maybe change their ways. I don't know.
Yeah, as for cheating on camera, Krim, you watch a lot of Magic. Wasn't there a big scandal in Magic where the guy was just constantly cheating under the camera and just nobody noticed for a long time? And then finally someone, like a viewer, caught this guy like drawing extra cards all the time and they finally got him banned?
Yeah, this happened a couple of years ago. And I was gonna make a joke about oh, you mean this month or last month or yesterday or the day before, but yeah, you know what, this happens very often. But yeah, you're absolutely right on that one point, very specific point.
Yeah, if you're not looking for cheating, it's like sometimes you just don't notice it, because you're kind of like you're watching it, but maybe you're eating something too, or you're kind of like doing something else while you're watching it, right? So you may not notice like every incident where it happens, but like once you start looking for it, you can just see it, like with the example with the Magic player. So yeah.
Okay. Now here's another twist to it all. The judges who were on hand, and you know what, this is actually a very unfortunate situation in every stretch of the imagination. But the judges who were on hand didn't actually catch it until, unfortunately, the viewers of the stream that was streaming it caught it, and they made such a big deal about it that the judges kind of looked over the shoulder of whoever was running it, and they said, oh wow, there's actual cheating going on. So then there's potential deck manipulation going on. That's what probably would happen. And so they took a break between games, and basically warned them, saying, you know what, there's a chance that you guys aren't doing this correctly. I think you guys shoveled enough, but just to make everybody happy, make sure you guys shovel. And when I heard that, I was like, oh god, how can you possibly think that this was shoveled enough? But anyways, that's also what happened. Is the judges were not informed, I guess is what I'm trying to say. The judges weren't really informed of what really happens. And if they were informed, then they weren't really paying attention. So a lot of people are saying, oh, blame the judges. It's not the players' fault. It's the judges. The judges should have, been paying attention. It's like, well, no, dude, it's probably everybody's fault. But, Potter, thoughts?
Yeah, this is kind of a new thing to Pokemon, so I wouldn't be surprised if the judges just didn't know, like, when somebody 5 piles like that, like just twice, that it's not enough, because you see pile shuffling all the time, and that's not usually associated with some sort of cheating. It's associated with shuffling your deck before a game, and I would say most judges aren't used to like a specific pile shuffle technique. In Magic, I'm sure a lot of the judges are aware of these kinds of things, and in other card games too, but this is new, and it's a learning experience for everybody, and it's a good thing that things were found out, and the more information that's out there, the better.
Very politically correct. Drew?
Yeah, I agree with Ben. They're naive. They're not looking for it. I wasn't looking for it until recently either, so I think we're all in this together, and the game's going to grow out of this, and it's going to be stronger as we move past this little mini scandal, and hopefully this will all be forgotten in another year.
Yeah. Wipe my hands of it with a moist towelette.
What's the count up to, Ben? 3 or 4?
I think it's 3.
Yeah. I think maybe the judges were just had not enough information. Maybe they just need to be better trained, and you can learn from this. You can be like, hey, we don't want this type of thing to happen again. This was going to be in our like judge training thing booklet or whatever they give them. So hopefully this will raise awareness, and this type of thing won't happen again.
And Kyle.
These guys have pretty much said everything. Yeah, I do think a lot of us just aren't looking for it. Like Drew said, like why would you look for it? We've played Pokemon for how long, and this stuff never came up before. I mean, it may have come up like once or twice in the past, but yeah, like even with Newman, like that whole thing where he was cheating on camera too. I didn't look for it at first. It wasn't until somebody watching it told me that stuff was going on, and then you go back and look, and you're like, oh wow, yeah, that's clear as day. So I think now that these issues have been raised, you'll see it be caught, you'll see it be punished more, and in turn it'll happen a lot less. But yeah, a big thing is the judges do have to be educated on this kind of thing. Even in those videos, you could see that the judges stopped, and then they're like, hey, you guys can't do that, and they gave them warnings. But then they didn't even make them shuffle their decks afterwards, which blew my mind. Like, they just let them keep going. Nothing changed. So you can see I don't think they really understood what was going on. Like, no slight to the judges, but it didn't seem like they had any experience with that kind of stuff.
Okay. Now, I guess, I've been playing another card game, or I was playing another card game, relatively competitively, Magic the Gathering, and immediately, from the day one, I was taught to shuffle my opponent's decks every round, regardless of the fact that I was 0-3 in Swiss or whatever. That's just, the mentality that these other players at this other card game have. You watch out for the double nickel. These things are things that, are second nature to you. And obviously, in Pokemon, they're not. That's not a slight on Pokemon. That's just, luckily we haven't had this instance happen to us until now. At least not to this degree. So you are right that the judges need to have some slack. That's fine. I completely agree. But I also believe that something needs to be done about this immediately. Something needs to change, and TPCI can't take this lightly. The head judging staff at Pokemon U.S. Nationals can't take it lightly. It needs to be a #1 priority because we need to nip it in the bud immediately. And nobody should, these judges at Canada Nationals shouldn't be made an example of or anything like that. I definitely don't recommend that at all. But there does need to be a higher standard held for in the future. And yes, I understand that these guys are usually poker parents or people that just don't play the game competitively anymore or whatnot. These judges, but the fact that they're volunteers doesn't mean that they can't be held to a higher standard. And this higher standard needs to happen immediately. Now that it's been brought to light, and I wanted to see if any of you guys disagree, and if so, why?
Nope.
Yes,
No, I agree.
Okay.
It's kind of hard to argue with that one.
Good. I'm glad.
It's
I'm
like,
glad
no,
we're
they
never-
need to be ignorant.
Look, man, I make these blatant, easy to argue with points. That way I can sound smart, all right?
I want to do a parody video where we're just trying to distract the other player, and then we're rearranging our deck, and then we put it on the table, and we're like,
I've seen it.
That's just us
Is that
playtesting.
Pidgeotto? Whoa!
Oh, that's just us normally
No,
playtesting.
but this is a Pidgeotto.
Like, I still
I
remember
think
that.
that's where it's gotten.
I still remember that one time when you and I were playing a game at Worlds, playtesting, and I was just like, I see every Don fan in your deck.
I think he's kidding, guys. Right?
No, he was not kidding. He actually did that to me in testing games. He looked through and found the big curves of my Don fan, and he cut it to the top of my deck every time.
Or bottom.
I'm never
No,
going to
you
forget
want
that
him to draw it.
Nationals.
Oh yeah. I did want you to draw it because your hand was so bad and you didn't have any fan fees. That's right. So I gave you every Don fan. Yeah. It was just one
Playtesting
game,
with
man.
Brand was ridiculous.
It was just one game. It was just one game and it was for fun. Like, I was laughing about it too. I was just like, yeah, watch me do this.
You guys.
Achoo! You steal a card off their bench. It's like, oh, excuse me. It's like, where'd my
We'll come
squirrel
up
go?
with some videos. We'll make this work.
Aren't there already videos with Matt Moss and Jason and all that?
Yeah,
The old
we'll
ones with
we'll
Chuck is
we'll
funny.
rehash that
Yeah.
series maybe.
Chuck smacks the table, Moss's head comes out from underneath with the card.
Yeah, if anyone hasn't seen the Elite Four videos, you gotta look them up on YouTube.
They're fun.
My favorite one is I think it's Ajay sits down against Chuck, and Chuck just Ajay hasn't even sat down yet, and Chuck's just playing down all these cards. He's like, Rare Candy, Blastoise, Rare Candy, Pidgeot, Lugia, and then he's like, Energy Rain, 200, you're gone, buddy. And Ajay's just standing there like, I haven't even started yet. Chuck puts on his sunglasses.
I think my favorite one was when it was like, man, I could use a card right here. Hits the table, and then Moss's head just comes out from the bottom of the table with the card in his mouth.
Yeah, those are some great videos. If you guys haven't watched those, you're
those
missing out. They're part of Pokemon history. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, they were
Probably
funny.
Some
They were
of the best
funny.
parts of Pokemon history. You know what? We're gonna leave this Canadian Nationals debate for probably the Q&A, knowing you guys, knowing the viewers. But I do want to leave it with one thing, and that's the fact that it was a couple of players. I believe it was exactly 2 players. Was there a third involved? Yeah, like top 8 or something like that?
I mean, I don't know. Maybe this was such an epidemic, and that's the only 2 we saw. But
yeah, okay. There was at least a couple of players that that absolutely had very poor performances at Canadian Nationals, and you can't take that away. What happened happened, and this will be recorded in history and whatnot, and hopefully we all learn a lesson from it. But Canada as a whole has been getting a lot of flame for it. Obviously, it's been a lot of joking here and there, but we do want to make it we want to make it clear that we do not believe that all Canadians perform this way or anything like that. We obviously stand by the fact that this can happen anywhere in the world, including Africa, Australia, everywhere else. And unfortunately, it was just brought to light in Canada. So that's just the gist of it. Don't pay any mind to people that are trying to blemish the name of great Canada. All right.
yeah, like don't target Canada. This is more like an individual thing. People just on their own doing it. They just happen to be from Canada.
It absolutely could have been any 2 people. It's just a shame that it was well-known players too, man. But anyways, yeah, that's the end of our discussion for Canadian Nationals, both the good and the bad, and definitely the ugly. And speaking of ugly, guess who gets the first pick in our fantasy draft? You would think so, right? You would think so, Potter. But I just used random.org, and
I'm sure.
Oh yeah. What kind of loaded dice were you using for this one?
I used random.org.
First pick, huh?
Random.
was like-
You mean random.ca?
That's a good one.
This is the last we ever saw of Potter. I have our official first pick for a fantasy draft. Our
hold
official
up.
first pick.
Let me put up a
There's
notepad on the screen.
no restricted list, right? I can pick anybody.
Anybody you want. We'll obviously lay out the scoring system and everything right now in a second, but hopefully you guys have come up with some good punishment for the last place finisher and maybe a good.
What's the order of the picks? Excuse me.
I'm about to say it. I was just waiting for Pram to give me.
Yeah, give me the
word.
order. Give me the order.
All right, here we go. First pick, Pramawat.
Ooh.
Second pick, Potter. Third pick,
Rigged.
me. Fourth pick, Drew. And
Kyle.
dead last, Kyle.
It's all right.
You know who's not getting himself?
Go ahead.
You
Waste
know
your
that,
pick on me.
This is a this is a snake draft format. So even though Kyle has the 5th pick, he also has the 6th pick, which means that Pram has the 1st pick and then the 10th. So it does actually kind of even out.
I have the second
So-
and third.
The scoring system that I worked out for this one, so that we can make it official here, is. Let me just make sure that I. Okay, here we go. If you go undefeated in Swiss, you get an additional 10 points added to your grand total. It's always a plus point system. There's no negative points. You get top 128, you get an additional 10 points. Top 64 gives you an additional 15 points.
Hold up,
top
slow down.
an additional.
Hold on, slow down, man. Top 128, 10.
Yes. Top 64, 15. Top
Okay.
32 plus 20. Top 16 plus 25.
We'll
Top
post this
8
on our
gives-
site afterwards.
Yeah. Top 8 gives you an additional plus 35, so it's now a 10-point jump instead of the normal 5. Top 4 gives you an additional 40 points. 45 points if you get a finalist, and then obviously if you win, you get the big 5-0.
You get 1,000 points.
You're winning. You just automatically win the draft in every draft after first.
So what is 16, 8, and 16
You go
onwards?
from 25 points, which is top 16,
25.
to 35. Yeah, to 35
Okay.
for top 8, and
35.
40 for top 4.
40 for top 4?
Yep. So there's only one 10-point jump, and that's between top 16 and top
Alright,
8.
so what's finals and winner?
45 50.
45 and 50. Okay.
Yep. So very simple. Obviously, if you get, if you finish in the finals and you get 45 points, you don't get the additional, 40 points for top 8 and whatnot, for all that good stuff. That's the gist of it. Hopefully, we have some fun, and Pram's got the first pick, but
On the clock.
yeah. Do we want to do a clock? Is that what we're gonna do? No, we're not gonna do a clock.
How many total picks do we get?
We're
We're
just
gonna
gonna
get 5
clock
total
your
picks.
turns, Grim.
We get 5 total picks.
5 total picks.
All right.
Obviously.
Let's see. I guess I'll pick up Jay.
Boo.
I should say that there is no handicap for getting anybody with a bye. So obviously buys are going to be pretty nice, especially when it comes to getting XO and Swiss, which gives you that additional 10-point bonus. So Jay Horning actually has a bye, so that's a pretty good pick. Jay Horning, obviously, he's right up there with Tom Dolezal and Kyle, and when it comes to Nationals performances, and seeing him be the number 1 pick is not really surprising at all. So Jay Horning gets the number 1 pick from Team Pram. By the way, my team's name is Team Crimalicious, so I don't know if you guys want to come up with a cool name like mine, but Team Crimalicious is where the 3rd pick stands.
All right.
All right.
We're on pick number 2.
Pick number 2, Potter.
I'm gonna save my ace in the hole for later because I don't think you guys are gonna pick him. So with the 2nd overall pick, I'm gonna select Jason Klasinski, 2-time world champion Jason.
The 2-time world champion Jason Klasinski. He's actually historically done very poorly at Nationals, by his standards anyway.
I'm pretty sure I just misspelled Jason's last name, but whatever.
This is the year.
Whatever.
This is the year, I believe.
I don't believe Jason's actually ever made it past the first round at Nationals.
He did.
And if you don't,
He did last
come
year.
up with a cool
yeah.
nickname for your
32.
team,
Top
Potter.
32. Yeah, it doesn't count.
Yeah, if you don't come up with a cool nickname for your team, Potter, you're going to be called the Hopies. All right?
We're gonna be the Great White Breads.
The Great White Breads, it is. All right, I guess it's on
Top
me.
32, top 128, close enough, Jason.
Oh man, there's so many good picks.
Because bread's it sucks up all the moisture.
You know what? I'm gonna go with. All right, Team Crimalicious proudly presents its first pick and the 3rd overall pick in our draft. Ross Coffin.
Man.
Yes.
I've
That's
realized
right.
I don't know how to spell anyone's last name.
You got it right. Actually,
Did
you
I?
got them all right. Yeah.
Well, the chat's been helping me out with Hornung and Klasinski.
Oh no, Horning, you missed an N between the U and the G. But yeah, Ross Coffin. Obviously, not much has to be said about him. He's an innovator, and I feel like he's going to innovate his way into a championship for Team Crimalicious.
Ross, another player, historically, not done too well at Nationals.
That's true. You are absolutely right. He historically hasn't done too well at Nationals, but historically he does have a couple of buys every time. So I figure he's due. Team Drew. Team Woo.
All right. The Nature Boys are going to pick Tom Dolezal.
The Nature Boys go with their boy, Tom the Tank Dolezal. All right. Can't say I didn't expect that one. The guy has no buys this tournament, but you know what? The Nature Boys don't care. The Nature Boys have probably the best performer in the history of the game, over the most consistent performer in the history of the game. I think it's hard to argue. I'm very excited to see if the Tank can carry the Nature Boys.
Oh, he's carrying us. He can carry the whole
Oops, I
rest of
forgot
the
now.
Nature Boys on his shoulder.
That means it's up to me.
Yep.
Oh
It
yeah.
is up to the Pookies.
You get 2 picks.
All right. Well, with the 5th pick in the 2013 Top Cut Fantasy National Draft, the Primetime Pukas choose Harrison Levin from the state of Florida.
My first pick.
That was my pick.
I was that close to Harrison and Ross.
He's got 2 buys. Guy's on a roll. He's got about 8,000 championship points. top 16 nationals last year. I got faith.
All right. That's obviously a pretty good pick. Harrison's on the heater of a lifetime, and there's no telling when it'll end. So, congratulations, that was a hell of a pick. And now you get the 6th overall pick as well.
All right, with the 6th overall pick, I'm gonna go a little outside the box here. I'm gonna choose a player from Illinois, Hondo Luna.
Hondo Luna gets a 2nd round pick. That's interesting. He's at least I was
basically I want to see Pram try to spell it.
I got it.
He did.
Well,
Jando Unchained.
You know what? You're gonna be our first interview.
You didn't even no one told me I just read the name.
You're gonna be our first interview, Kyle. Why would you pick Hondo Luna as your 2nd round pick?
he's a bright up and coming player. I've talked with him a lot. Obviously, I see him a lot at tournaments. He's got his invite. This is like his 2nd year of actually playing the game. He's got a lot of upside. I think he's one of the up and coming stars of the game. He made a 2nd at the biggest regional in the history of Pokemon this year, and St. Louis. And he's just had a killer season all year long. So I got
that
faith.
2nd place finish gave him 1 bye, correct?
2 buys.
2 buys. Okay, so 2 buys. He's coming into nationals with 2 buys. He's obviously a contender to get that XO finish in Swiss, and obviously that 10 points means quite a bit.
And also he beat Pram at regionals, so he probably stole a little bit of Pram's luck.
Yeah.
And he's taking it to nationals.
He took the 4-leaf clover out of Pram's keychain and added it to his own. Drew, we have the Nature Boys up.
Yeah, after much deliberation, the Nature Boys have selected John Roberts with their 2nd pick.
Oh.
Big move.
Oh,
Previous national champion.
the
Think
national
he's gonna go
champion
back to
himself.
back?
Wait. John Roberts the 1st or the 2nd? It wasn't clear there.
The 2nd.
Okay.
The Nature Boys select the national champion. It's hard to go wrong with somebody who is the reigning, defending national champion.
Nature Boys are going off of history here, it seems like.
It does seem that way. You know what? I hate to have 2 interviews right away, right after another, but it's hard to argue with interviewing somebody who just picked the national champion. So, please.
Well, you see, we had a couple metrics for this pick, grading out our selections, and we just thought the defending national champion, you can't go wrong. He has pedigree, and we like pedigree on the Nature Boys. So
The Nature Boys like figure 4s.
Yeah.
Woo! Pedigree so much.
John also earned his invite again this year, so he's not having a bad season.
Nope.
Absolutely. John definitely seems to be an up-and-coming player as well. He was an up-and-coming player last year, kind of a relative unknown. Made
This is rookie year.
made history, and here he is trying to repeat, and he's got the Nature Boys behind him. So it's gonna be interesting to see how far John can
back
go.
baby, back to back.
All right, I guess it's up to Team Crimalicious. All right, Team Crimalicious, I think, is ready. We're just debating. We're between 2 people. Yeah. All right, Team Crimalicious is ready. Team Crimalicious selects Ryan Sablehouse.
Oh my god, you guys are taking all my picks.
I almost took
Ryan
him.
Sablehouse has 2 buys as well. The buys, obviously, Team Crimalicious favors buys. We like to get an advantage wherever we can. And Ryan is a great player. He's part of probably the best current brother relationship in the game today. There's actually a great history when it comes to brothers playing this game, and it dates all the way back to the Brooks brothers. And you know what? I have faith in the Sable houses, the Sable Highs.
Apparently, highs is now the plural form of houses. Or of house.
I made it funny. So here we go. That's our pick.
All right, so I guess that leaves me, and I still don't think that you guys are gonna pick the people that I want. So I'm gonna go ahead and take somebody I think is pretty good here. I'm gonna select our very own Kyle Sukovich.
Oh, it's a bold pick.
Congrats to the great white breads.
It's hard to argue with picking who we all already know is maybe the strongest finisher in U.S. Nationals history. He might not be as well rounded as Tom Dolzar or Jay Horning. He doesn't have world accomplishments behind him. But when it comes to Nationals, it's hard to argue with his prowess. And you know what? He's coming in here with no buys, much like Jason Klasinski. So I have to ask you: do you feel like this is a sound strategy for the Great White?
Great strategy. These guys have proven histories of doing well at tournaments in general. Kyle, this is Kyle's tournament. This is the tournament he does best at. Or, well, not really, but he's done the best of it compared to anybody else.
All right.
I got a good track record.
It went down last year a bit. But
So you realize that if Kyle's got something like 90 points and if he wins, he's going to give you it'll end up giving you the win in our draft. He's going to tank in the finals, right? You realize this, right? I wouldn't
This
have
means
bet
more
on
to me than being national champion.
yeah. I wouldn't have bet on a top cut on a fellow draft member, but you know what? You're a bold man, Potter. You're a bold man, and you.
still thinking about it, I should have picked myself because I'd be the first of us picked out of everybody.
So here we go. We have Pram now, who rounds out the second
All right.
second round. And
Thought of a
gets
team
Can I have
name?
a team name?
Yeah, just thought of it. Pram Stackers.
and you hear boos across the audience.
Just so everybody on my team who drafts who I draft knows, there's gonna be an info video I'm gonna be putting out how to do the correct 5-pile double nickel, and I want everybody to practice doing it a lot before national. I'm serious. I need to win this thing.
I'm included in this.
Yeah.
We'll meet up.
Let's see.
Or malfunction during Kyle's game. We didn't get it.
My first pick. My second overall pick is gonna be Ty Smith.
All right, Ty Smith.
On my list.
He's actually on pretty much everybody's.
Yeah, man. Having those buys is pretty big.
Have to cross another name off my list. My list is getting kind of thin. Oh boy.
My list is still
Yeah.
full. You guys are bad at this.
Let's see.
So the Pram Stackers get Ty Smith, and that rounds out the second round. So now the third round begins, and obviously the Pram Stackers.
Just the hot sauce himself.
He is the Banner King.
Let's never bring that up again.
Let's see. I don't think I can let myself get away, so I'm gonna pick myself.
I knew it. I knew he would
Pram
do
picks
that.
himself because he's afraid of himself not actually going in this year's fantasy draft. So he just wants to maintain his ego where it stands. And he
I
doesn't
can't
wanna
let
let it
myself
get
be
away.
counterpicked.
Now, Pram, I have to ask you. You're going to be our third interviewee. You picked Ty Smith. You picked Jay Horning. Jay Horning, obviously, hard to argue with him as a first pick. Ty Smith, he's a little bit lesser known, but he's definitely making a mark this year, and that buy doesn't hurt. And then we have Michael Pramila, somebody who hasn't done very well this year, somebody who's actually underachieving this year. Some people have claimed that he's washed up. Some people have claimed that he just doesn't have it in him anymore. Why would you pick him so highly?
Well, as we get to the later rounds, he's definitely want to be on. I definitely want him on my team. So, as we get to the later rounds, there's a higher and higher chance of him getting picked. We already had 10 people picked already, so having him picked as number 11 seemed about okay. Plus, we also drew a blank on who else had buys, so this seemed like the natural progression. Huh?
Do you feel like this puts a lot of pressure on you coming into nationals?
Oh no, man! I'm sure it'll just be the standard nets for me: top 128, and then get lose.
And
Easy
I do
10
have one
points.
final question.
Yeah, I'll get my 10 points.
I do have one final question, and that's you have a giant ego. Some people would say. How do you feel like your ego is gonna mix with the rest of your team, with the Pram Stackers? Do you feel like there's gonna be some sort of tension between, say, Jay Hornung, Ty Smith, Michael Pramawat, and the remaining couple of players?
Well,
do you feel like maybe you might clash a little?
Well, that's the thing. My team is made of big egos.
My point.
Yeah. So that's how we we just power each other up. Our egos are just so big that we just look down on everyone.
Team Vegetas.
All right, so that does it for Pram's third pick. Now we have the Great White Breads.
Great White Breads are on the clock.
Yes, they are.
What do you
Like
think?
Great White Nopes.
What do you,
Yeah, he's number one on our board. He's number one on our board. I mean, we might as well get him here. Yeah, somebody else will pick him, definitely. All right. With their third overall selection and the 12th selection in the Top Cut Fantasy Nationals Draft of 2013, the Great White Bread select Mike Newman, my boy, a hover cat like myself. Mike Newman is going to go deep this year. Deep.
He's currently a member of On the Bubble. I believe he has 2 buys or 1? 2.
He won both regionals and states this year.
Yeah, he did.
He should have 3 buys, but he only has 2. So, you know what? Mike Newman, definitely a good pick. I'm sure that whiteboards across America are having a nice little dash
Oh, yeah.
right there.
Cross it off mine.
Yeah, I'm striking through a lot of names recently. And
Wait,
Mike
are we
Newman-
allowed to pick seniors?
No, Masters
Dang.
only.
Masters only.
Dang it.
Um,
I mean, you can
yeah,
pick a
you know
senior, but it won't count.
I'll play with 4 guys, an advantage for you guys.
You know what? Mike Newman is one hell of a pick, and your team is finally starting to look a little bit decent, having finally picked. No offense to current members of the Team White Breads. Oh man, is it really on me again? Ooh. These people might not play.
This is where your lack of knowledge of this season will come back to bite you.
Oh no! Oh no! I'm out of names. Oh,
I just thought of a few
I don't want to
too.
name this guy. I don't want to name this guy.
Name them. Do it.
Just listed 2 people.
Oh no! I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it.
Just say my name.
Come on, think. Oh yes, I found somebody. Yes, Team Crimalicious. By the way, it's double M, not M-A. You jerk. Team Crimalicious is proud to announce its 3rd pick, and you know what? Somebody who's been a sleeper right now, and I can't believe that he went this deep. But Team Crimalicious is proud to add him to our roster. It's Dylan LeFavor.
No!
Dylan LeFavor
That was
out
my
of
pick.
I believe New England or something like that. Anyways,
That's my pick.
we got our boy. We got our boy Dylan LeFavor. I
Solid
cannot
pick.
believe he went this late. And you know what? We're proudly going to take him and add him to our already stacked roster.
I'm very upset.
All right,
Very
Nature
upset.
Boys.
Keep the picks coming. I got my stacked team. Like, I'm just gonna get my top 5 picks, and you guys are just gonna be like, "What happened?"
All right. The Nature Boys are bouncing back with Mike Diaz.
Wait. What did you say? Okay, never mind.
Yes, Mike Diaz did become a part of the Nature Boys roster. You know what? Mike Diaz is, I believe he's a top 4 finisher at Worlds last year, or top 8.
Mhm. Top 4.
Top 4.
Yeah. Oh, who's got that knowledge? Oh, Puka, watch out!
I think
Watch
he
out!
also has a
Father.
bye. He won a state championship.
Yes, he does. He's definitely qualified for the World Championships already, and some would say he's got nothing left to win. Some would say, you know what, this guy's done it all. I believe he's a national champion in the senior division. If not, then
Yeah, he is.
yeah, I believe he is.
Yep.
So you know what, this guy, he's on top of the world right now. He definitely made a showing at in his first Masters season last year, and now it's nowhere to go but down, I believe. Sorry. Sorry, Drew.
He's a Nature Boy now.
Basically, he's washed up at the tender age of 17 or 16. Poor guy. All right, Kyle. The Pookies. I'm sorry, the primetime
Yeah,
Pukas.
Pukas.
primetime Pukas. Thank you. With our third round pick, we select Raymond Cipoletti. Yep,
Ray's a good pick.
got 2 buys.
He does have 2 buys.
Regional champion.
Kyle's sticking to the 2-buy strategy.
It's a good strategy.
Is there a reason for this, Mr. Super?
People with 2 buys not only get 2 free wins, but they also have super resistance. So even if they finish with the lowest possible record to get into the cut, they will almost always make it.
So you want to secure that 10 points, really? You want
Once you
want
make
your
it, anything
minimum-
can happen, man. I think John Roberts made it in as the
6-3,
low seed
right?
last
Yeah.
year.
Yeah, he was a low seed. Yeah, you're absolutely right. But okay, your strategy has been to secure 10
Yeah,
points.
don't question my strategy, all right? We got our strategy. You stick to yours. How about we stick with that, huh?
All right, round 4, go for it.
All right. So,
Chump time
with our
Pukas.
4th round pick, we select Chris Wen from the state of California.
No!
Oh,
Good luck spelling that one.
I have no idea. It's NYG.
It looks like Nugent.
Knew it. Is that I know that's like roughly how you spell it.
Yeah.
I'm so bad at it.
Yeah.
Huh?
Wait, no, I did that wrong. NGQYN.
Oh, okay.
No.
I was close. I was real close.
Uh,
All right.
That one hurt you deep, huh, Krim?
oh man, too deep. I was seriously just like saving him for my round 4 pick, and then I was gonna debate between my round 5s. Oh, I knew I should have taken the 3rd pick, but Dylan Lefebvre, 2 buys. Dang it.
Yeah,
Ah.
lost.
It is
Alright.
my loss indeed. You know what? The Nature Boys are up.
The Nature Boys, this is a tough pick. We're gonna pick Old Faithful Dustin Zimmerman. He's got this. His hometown. Woo!
Does he have a buy? No, right?
No.
I think so.
Oh.
We don't need
I
buys
think-
to win.
Dustin is someone who's been highly overlooked this season. He does have his Worlds invite, though. He earned it really quickly, actually. So I think that's a big steal there.
Woo!
Okay, this
Right.
is it. This is interesting to me. The fact that you've now picked 2 people without a buy. Obviously, they're Tom Dolezal and Dustin Zimmerman, so they're pretty good players. 2 people without a buy. That's a decent strategy. And now I think you're going for the home run. You're saying, you know what? We don't want to secure top 128. We don't want to get extra Swiss points. We want to go for the big one. We want to get that 50 points off of my.
The Nature Boys are
like-
champions. Multiple time champions.
Yeah, and the last time they won a championship was in the 70s, but you know what? They definitely were champions at one point in their lives.
They got a
You're
style
right,
and
dude.
profile, all right?
Woo!
Team Crimalicious is up. And
Drew's whole team is going to come in a limo.
Yeah, it is.
They are. I'm
Uh,
not paying for it though. Top cut.
all right.
Bankrupt.
All right. Team Crimalicious is proud.
Look at this face. Look at this face. He's not proud at all.
You don't sound that proud.
You know what? We have faith. When you have faith, you got it all, baby. Brent Seven Kettle goes to Team Crimalicious. Another
Oh.
2-buy, baby.
Man, this is good. All right, chat. I'm giving up on this one. How do you even spell that last name?
I got you.
S-I-E.
S-I-E-B-E-N
It's double
SIE
B.
BEN
K-I-T-T
KIETTI
no, K-I-T-T-E-L.
TTEL. Okay. All right, that doesn't look right.
I think he also has 2 buys. He won a regional championship.
Yep, he definitely did, and I'd be surprised if he doesn't back it up with a solid performance. Team Crimalicious is just going for solid performance across the board, and we'd be happy with.
He's a longtime veteran, multiple-time Worlds competitor. I think he's probably one of the most under-the-radar players we've had in the history of our game.
Yeah, for as good as he's done, for as long as he's done, absolutely, and that's why I'm proud to have him on my roster. So, Great White Breads, your fourth
Great
pick.
White Breads get another of their top 5 picks. Right now, we're 4 for 4 on my list of picks. And with the 4th pick for the Great White Breads, we select the older Diaz, Frank Diaz, Mr. 1,000 games himself. That's my boy. I freaked out a bit when I. That's
Please elaborate.
City was trying to play 1,000 games, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. We had a bit of a freak out when we heard Mike Diaz, and then we realized, oh wait, my pick is still there. Both brothers are good, but I'm taking the older brother.
Some would say that you picked the more washed up brother. Some would say that you picked the brother that has been
I would
overshadowed
say-
by his younger counterpart. What would you say?
A broken clock is right twice a day.
Alright.
Okay.
Somebody had to make that clock.
All right.
All right.
Just kidding.
Pram
Mike's
Slam
really good.
pajamas,
Mike's
whatever you
really
get.
good.
Oh, Pram Stackers.
Pram Stackers is proud to bring onto our team Dylan Bryan as our 4th pick.
That was who I was going to pick instead of Seven Kettle, but I went with Seven Kettle.
That's a
So I
steal
hope-
in the 4th round.
Yeah.
Dylan Bryan, he has 2 buys, correct?
Yes.
He's obviously somebody who does extremely well at every major event he goes to, and last year I believe he did extremely well at U.S. Nationals as well. So he's got a proven track record. And let me take a look at your other picks. Yeah, you do have Michael Pramawat on your roster. What got you to pick Pramawat over somebody like Dylan Bryan, who is clearly a much more profitable pick?
Like I said, I knew people wouldn't, or Pram Stackers knew people would not pick Dylan Bryan.
So you figured that that Michael Pramawat would be overrated compared to other players, is what you're trying to say.
You
Yes.
thought one of us was going to pick you first?
That's funny. There's no way. 0% chance we were ever gonna pick you. I mean, you're right. You're right. You made sure that you went accordingly.
So we've ran a good game plan so far, and we're gonna go into our 5th and final pick.
You all right?
All right. Pram Stackers adds on as the final spot on our team, Andrew Kreckler.
No.
Is he a member of the 2 by Club?
Yes.
He won St. Louis Regionals.
He knocked me out of Worlds for the Last Chance qualifier. What an accomplishment! That's a major accomplishment, by the way.
You
That's
know,
like
so,
winning, that's
a
like
little-
winning 3 states in a row.
A little backstory on Andrew. He won a regionals with Blastoise. This is the season of Blastoise, so I figure he'll just keep winning with Blastoise.
You know, you've picked a lot of Blastoise players, it looks like.
You know, I have a game plan. We're gonna make it.
Pram, well,
He definitely has a game plan.
You know, we did not pick this name on accident.
It explains why you chose that name over the bad Pramajamas. So, all right, that makes sense. We have the 5th and final pick for the Great White Breads now.
Jay Hornung.
What?
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 He was first pick.
That's who you thought was going to be your 5th pick? You thought...
I can't pick Jay Hornung again.
No.
Why not?
let's have 2 invites, so can we let that one slide?
Wait. Is there anywhere in the rules where it says you can't pick the same person?
Yes.
All right.
And uses his 5th pick to steal the 1st pick.
I'm just down a person.
With my 5th pick, I'm going to select somebody who is also on my top 5 board, and probably the future winner of Nationals 2013. I'm going to select the Great White Hope. I'm picking myself. Woo! I'm the coach. I'm the leader of the team. We're going to get 1st through 5th.
All right. That brings up your interview. Is there a reason why you would pick such a unaccomplished and...
I mean, this is a pick lower than Michael Pramawat. I mean, like,
It
come
is.
on.
Listen,
What? Is it? It's at tier. It's at tier.
White Hope has has a great chance of making cut. He's never lost in the first 5 rounds of Nationals. He's a perfect 15-0. So with that 5-round advantage, every year I've won more and more games in a row.
So basically, you're saying you have a 5-round bye.
I have like an 8-round bye at least. Because the first year I won 5 in a row, the second year I won 6 in a row, the third year I won 7 in a row. So I'm going to win 8 in a row this year.
It's just math.
So Ben just kind of shot himself in the leg, guys. How do you guys feel about this? Do you feel like it's now a 4-man race?
You know, he's got a good track record the last couple of years. He's made top cut 2 out of those 3 years. I don't know how he missed starting 5-0, but he did.
Yeah, I went 5-4.
It's okay. Seems like he's improving a little bit each year. So maybe
Another-
it's not a bad pick.
You know what, though?
After I won all those games in a row, I started losing, and I did not ever win after I started losing.
Exactly, which begs the question: do you feel like you might have just thrown a pick away because of a certain player's temper tantrums that he usually throws, and the fact that he can't compose himself. He has no composure when it comes to the later rounds of a tournament, and he's proven it time and time again. And he's such a liability, I guess is what I'm getting at.
You know,
You're talking about the Maryland State champion here.
The ex-Maryland
Yes.
State champion.
Every clock is wrong twice, or right twice.
You're
a day,
always
et cetera,
a
et
state
cetera.
champion, all right?
That's true. The state champion of 2012. You know, it's all about passion, and it's about a dream that one man, that one hope has for himself. And when he sees that hope shattered and gone, and there's no hope left, it's just emotion coming out. And it's beautiful and terrifying. And every year he comes back stronger.
Do you feel like he's going to be your 5th pick is actually going to be kind of like the leader of the Whitebreds, or do you feel like maybe a stronger personality such as Jason Glazinski or pretty much anybody else on their roster is going to be able to lead the team?
Everybody has a time to lead, and now is my time.
All right.
It's
So
put
here
up
we go.
or shut up time, and it's time for me to put up or shut up.
Fair enough. That completes the Great Whitebreds, and we're down to Team Cremalicious' final pick. Ooh, boy. I can't believe we're actually doing this. We're actually going through with it. Oh, man. We tried our best to avoid it. But Team Cremalicious is sad more than anything to announce its 5th and final member. Ice cold himself, Adam Bernal.
It's a good pick, actually. Adam has a very long history of doing well at U.S. Nationals.
Krim, what's your real pick?
Also has 2 buys.
You know what? Like his nickname suggests, he's got blood. He's got ice cold blood in him, and this guy, ice cold blood running through his veins, I guess is what I was trying to say. And this guy's been there before. This guy has performed extremely well at Nationals. He's got 2 buys coming into this. He's on a heater. He's playing well and he's running well, and that's what matters. And you know what? If it wasn't for Kyle stopping him in his tracks in 2009, I believe, if it wasn't for Kyle stopping him in his tracks, then we would have seen Adam potentially be the national champion. So you know what? Adam is not a bad pick. I can joke around all I want, but Team Cremalicious is really proud to have him on our team, and we feel like he was a steal. All right, the Nature Boys, final pick.
All right. Every good team needs a villain, so we're going to go with the man, Gino Lombardi.
Gino Lombardi gets picked for the national championship draft. He is the champ. He's G-Dog the champ. And Gino is the bad boy of Pokemon. Gino has a personality that matches his track record in this game.
Now, hold on. Drew, that pick has to hurt you on the inside, seeing as Gino did beat you to become the national champion in 2008. How did you bring yourself to actually make this pick?
Well, I was looking through the list of people with 2 buys, and his name was the only name that really stood out to me. You know, He has that championship pedigree that we're looking for. It hurts me to pick him. He did beat me in the finals and nationals once, but I know what type of competitor he is, and I know what he's capable of. So we look forward to having him on the Nature Boys. Woo!
Now, do you feel like he's going to have any type of bad blood with the current ownership of the Nature Boys? Do you feel like Gino's going to be able to play well with the owner?
Well, you know, I think a little conflict brings everyone together. You know, it might seem like we're fighting on the outside, but on the inside, we're as tight as it gets. We're brothers practically, so there's no bad blood.
Fair enough. That completes the Nature Boys. The Nature Boys have a really stacked roster. They have the current national champion. They have Dustin Zimmerman, who is a perennial all-star in this game. They have Mike Diaz, who's an up-and-comer. They have the bad boy himself, Gino Lombardi, and they have Tom Dolezal. Some would actually rate you as the current favorite, and you should definitely be proud of the way you outpicked supposedly some of our current members. I won't say any names, but their last name rhymes with Wham-A-Lot. Primetime Pukas.
Yes, sir. All right. Now, one of the downsides of only having 5 rounds is we're going to exclude a lot of great players. It's a tough choice. There are a lot of people. There are probably at least like 20 other people that I would love to pick for my team. But for my last pick, I got to go with the guy with the hot hand, the guy who was on an absolute miracle run right now. And that is the one and only Christian Bianchi. This guy won 6 battle roads in a row to get his invitation to the World Championship. He is rolling all the way into nationals. I think this is his year.
Is he even going?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Chris Bianchi is definitely a pick that surprises some of our viewers. Chris Bianchi has been around for a very long time, as long as some of our members.
Put my name on the line for him.
Yeah. Do you feel like your team is going to live or die by Bianchi's?
You know, he's got a bad history at nationals. He has actually never top cut the event ever in his life.
That was the next question.
Yeah. But things are changing. He has not qualified for Worlds since 2006, I think. This is his first year that he's done it since then. It's been a long time. This guy's back. Obviously, he knows what's up with this format. The guy won 6 battle roads. How does nobody pick this guy? I mean, it seems like an easy pick to me.
Because he hasn't top cut nationals ever, man. Easy.
Hey, anything can happen. John Roberts
We go
didn't
with
either.
results. Oh, this is his first time, man. You gotta start somewhere.
Yeah.
Woo!
The Primetime Pukas were looking very strong with their first pick in Harrison Levin. Then they had Hondo Luna, who was someone who was a relative of unknown, but definitely making his mark in the game currently. Ray Cipoletti, who earned an invite incredibly quickly this year. And Chris Wynn, who is probably I think it's fair to say that he's one of the most dominant forces in the West Coast. And finally, you have Chris Bianchi. Chris Bianchi is kind of like that big asterisk on your team, which means if he does well, the Primetime Pukas are going to do well. But it's up to him to break through this year, and that puts a lot of pressure on the Primetime Pukas. I'm sure that the Puka ownership club is definitely sweating this one out.
You know what? We thrive under pressure. I'm looking forward to the challenge. You know, I got a tested team here. We got some young guys who are hungry to do well at the national championship. Got some experience as well. So I think we got the right mix of new guys and veterans, and we're going to go all the way.
So to reiterate, the Pram Stackers have Jay Hornung, Ty Smith, Michael Pramawat, Dylan Bryan, and Andrew Kreckler in their team. This is what Michael Pramawat's 5-man roster is going to look like, and he's going to be taking these bad boys all the way to the national championships, and hopefully for him, he's going to be able to pull off what some would consider a miracle.
Oh yeah, I expect one of us. I expect someone on my team to pull out with a victory.
And that's the thing is they might have to pull out a victory in order to make up for Michael Pramawat on their team.
If you had to predict
the big
one
goose
person on your team, who would you predict most likely to win the national championship on your team? If you're going to predict somebody's going to win.
Oh, you know, I always got to go with the underdog here.
Who's that?
Oh, that's definitely Jay Hornan.
So Jay Hornick would be your prediction for the most points from your team. Now, Great White Breads, led by Ben Potter, they have Jason Klaczynski, Kyle Sukovich, Mike Newman, Frank Diaz, and Ben Potter rounding out their team.
Can I change my team name?
Maybe.
To
I
what?
want to change it to the Great White Cakes.
The Great White Cakes it is.
Delicious, frosting-filled,
And they're
beautiful, moist cake. It's great. It's built with layers of delicious skill.
You know what? You have probably the two most recognizable faces on your team, Jason Klaczynski and Kyle Sukovich. Then you have players such as Mike Newman, Frank Diaz, and yourself, who who definitely are no slouches themselves and are just poised, some of them anyways, to make a run, a big run at an event. So that begs the question, first of all, who do you feel is going to be your big horse, your main attacker? And
It's looking like it's going to be Mike Newman. That guy's been on fire this season. He's an awesome player, and all of my guys can go so far. Like, the upside is just so high, but Mike Newman is the leader of the pack in terms of consistency and high placing, and he's fantastic pick.
all right, so that's pretty fair of you to say, and that's one hell of a team you got there. Now, Team Crimalicious, obviously manned by myself, has Ross Cawthon, Ryan Sablehouse, Dylan Lefevre, Brant Sabenkettle, and Adam Bernoulli in the team. My team is definitely lesser known than a lot of other players. It doesn't have any real superstars behind it, like say Jason Klaczynski or Jay Hornung or Tom Dolezal. These guys are the absolute cream of the crop. But it has a lot of players who are right there trying to break through.
I would say Ross is there.
I was gonna put him at one of the guys that's trying to break through, but fine. You want to?
Second at Worlds twice?
You want to give him
The only guy to qualify for Worlds 11 times. So okay.
Fine. It has one member of its team that's at the absolute highest tier in this game, and the other players are up and comers, like people like Dylan Lefevre and Ryan Sablehouse. They're right up there. They perform extremely well at every major event. They're just due for a big breakthrough. Then you have Brant Sabenkettle, who has been playing for an extremely long time, and he's just always been that quiet assassin, that guy that just kind of stays under the radar, but he quietly gets a bunch of top 8s and top 16s at these major events, and that kind of performance is really what makes up for this kind of point setup where it really favors consistency, I believe. So that's Team Crimalicious for you. It's definitely not as well known as some of these other teams, but it's up there in the skill level. I guarantee you that. Then we have the Nature
Taking a lot of
Boys.
gambles.
I am absolutely taking a lot of gambles. That's for sure. You know what? And I will say that I believe that my Dylan Lefevre is my pick to win nationals out of my own group. That's who I feel is poised to really make this his breakthrough season. And the Nature Boys have Tom Dolezal, John Roberts II, Mike Diaz, Justin Zimmerman, and Gino Lombardi. Nature Boys, how do you feel about your current pick, and who do you feel is your best
we feel
performer?
great. Feel great. We didn't go after people with 2 buys. That didn't matter to us. We just picked great players, and that's what my team is full of. A bunch of Nature Boys, great playing Nature Boys. If I had to pick one, I would say I think it's Dustin Zimmerman's year, and John Roberts probably comes in second. So we're going for a 1-2 finish, guys. Woo!
All right. So, do you feel like you're poised to really be at the head of this competition? Do you have obviously some of the most recognizable names in this game? You have the current national champion. Do you feel like you're the current favorite?
I think we're at the top of the competition right now, and that's where we're gonna stay.
There. Now the primetime Pukas, Harrison Levin, Hondo Luna. Let me maximize this so I can actually read it. Harrison Levin, Hondo Luna, Ray Cipoletti, Chris Wynn, and Chris Bianchi. A couple of Chris's rounding out your roster. How do you feel about it?
I feel great. I mean, we got a great team put together here. We got a lot of guys who are just on a roll right now. I think everybody on my team has a Worlds invite. So I'm pretty excited.
Very nice. And a few members of your team actually have a couple buys. So, and Chris
They all
Wynn
have
actually has
buys
one.
except for Bianchi.
Yeah. Who's obviously already going to win Nats anyway, so it's not a big deal. He doesn't need buys.
Yep.
He always top cuts Nats anyways, right?
Hey, he's my pick to win.
You're right.
Another
And-
note about Frank Diaz. Didn't he Exo Swiss last year?
He's done it. He did it 2 years ago. I don't know if he did it last year too.
See, there's more points right there.
Absolutely, and that
Boom.
definitely is taken into consideration. Now, really quickly before we leave this subject, I want to ask each of you who you feel is your toughest competition. Who you feel has the best team aside from yourself, obviously. So we'll start with Kyle.
Sorry, I didn't catch it. Sorry. Can you repeat the question?
Just who you feel your strongest competition is out of all these teams. Who you feel, obviously not including yourself, has the best team coming into this.
I mean, everybody's got a great team, a lot of great players out there. If I'm going to be afraid of someone, it's the Nature Boys. They got a lot of swagger. They got some big personalities, and they got Tom Dozel. That guy's just scary, all right? Probably got two of the biggest Pokemon players in Tom Dozel and Gino Labardi. Those guys work out a lot, so I'm scared of them.
All right, the Nature Boys, definitely, like we said earlier, they have definitely the most recognizable team. We can say that much. So, Nature Boys, you guys are up.
You know, I would like your team, Krim, but your last pick was like a dud, so I'm gonna go with Primetime Pukas. There's just
There's a
lot
little
of good
brotherly love
players.
to you guys. That's so
You
cute.
guys,
They're,
you guys
like,
go on a
chugging it
date.
out right
You guys go take them to a movie or something.
We are rooming together.
That's so cute. That's adorable. Is there a reason why you chose the Primetime Pukas besides the fact that you guys
I
have some
just
sort of
feel like there's a lot of potential on that team. You know, you look at the Gray White Hopes team, Jason Kay's not going anywhere. Kyle's pretty much washed up at this point. You look at Pram's team, Pram's not doing anything, so there's a lot of dead weight on everyone else's teams that Kyle doesn't have.
Fair enough. All right, we'll go with my team. The first two are definitely done. No, they're not going anywhere. I think it's between the Nature Boys and the Primetime Pukas.
Woo!
It's hard to argue against my boy Chris Wynn, but you know what? I really feel like Chris Bianchi's performance at Nationals, it's very similar to what Drew said about Adam Vernola, except for what he said about my boy Vernola is completely false, and Vernola actually steps up while Chris Bianchi doesn't. Chris Bianchi is just he's that dead weight, he's that anchor, and I
Hey,
gotta
All
think
I'm
he's
going to
gonna
say
push that.
is, Team Cremalicious, you got to look out for the Primetime Puka Bianchi combo. We're going back to the Halo days. We're going to take you out.
Well, Team Crimalicious picks the Nature Boys. Team Crimalicious believes that
Yeah, we
the Nature
expected
Boys
that.
are just yeah.
We expected nothing but hate coming from Team Cremalicious.
And our parting words are hate, hate, hate. The Great White Cakes. You're up.
You know, we don't really worry about too much about the other teams. We just do our thing, put our nose to the grinder, practice, stack. But we know somebody else out there is stacking, and we're looking out for those guys. And so I'm most afraid of the Promowat stackers. And you know, if there's any team that's going to be hard to beat, it's the team that stacks the deck. I'm surprised you don't have Sam Chan on your team.
Oh, why did I pick me?
I almost picked Sam Chan.
Yeah, Sam Chan was on my list too. He's a fantastic player.
Oh God.
But
Oh, whoops.
Stacker's got a good team, and I know from personal experience playing with Michael Promowat that he's ready, and he's at the top of his game.
Stack all day.
Is that what you're
Did you
doing?
win with Blastoise, man?
What?
How many battle roads did you win with Blastoise?
2.
He went 14-2, like with Blastoise or something ridiculous like
Did
that.
you win any
He's
events without
practicing.
Blastoise?
Well, no. I mean, like, because when the one time I didn't go undefeated with Blastoise, I actually only had one Black Kyurem. So
To be fair, he should have lost to me in one of those battle roads.
I don't know. Whatever.
I just didn't draw Garbodor. I was unable to evolve.
So, the Pram Stackers will now announce the number 2 team in the draft, and it is definitely the Nature Boys. They are definitely the number 2 team here. You know, they got Tom Dozel, fierce competitor, but then they got a lot of dead weight after Mike. You know, like they have Dustin Zimmerman. He's gonna be dead weight. Mike Diaz, dead weight. John Roberts, dead weight. Gino Lombardi, dead weight.
Saying why they're so good now.
But Tom, he's probably just gonna win, and that's gonna carry him to second place.
I don't know. Tom's a top 8 machine. He's not a winner at these events.
Exactly. So the top 8 does secure you 35 points. 45 if he manages to go undefeated, but it's not going to be enough.
Well, Tom is getting 60 points.
Huh?
Tom is going to get 60 points.
You feel like he's going to go all the way and never drop a game or match.
Listen. I was hoping Tom would be a sleeper pick. Unfortunately, I forgot Drew was in the pick. So Tom was going to be my number 2 because I thought I could get away with it.
But there was a 0% chance that Tom was
in my heart, Tom was my number 1 pick, but he was taken from me before I got a chance.
That's fair. You know what? The Nature Boys are overwhelming favorites according to our rosters. If you guys agree or disagree, please say so. We had a lot of fun.
I disagree.
If anybody but these 4 disagree or agree, please say so. We had a lot of fun doing this. There's so many good players. I can't believe it. I actually did have like a little list of players that I wanted to pick, and it was so funny how many names I had to cross off immediately, and how many were left over. Like, it could have definitely. It was a blast, and I can't wait to do this again. That was cool. That was actually fun. Hopefully that wasn't boring for you guys, because that was awesome.
Yeah, I should have picked Sam instead of myself, but I couldn't let myself go. Like, I just had to pick myself.
Oh, don't worry. I would have picked you if you hadn't.
I should. You know, hindsight, I really should have picked Sam instead of me. That was a mistake.
Sam did actually go the entire draft without getting picked, and that's got to be. It
was an oversight. It was an oversight. We just
probably a fluke. Me and Pram both just. Me and Pram just both have
probably,
2 giant
probably
egos.
needed a few more rounds. You know,
yeah, you know
too many good players.
6 rounds is actually better because of
we might need more next time, but we'll keep that in mind. Now the show is going kind of long, so we're gonna have to do our metagame predictions and our preparation analysis a little bit quicker than we're used to, just because it's already 8 o'clock and 8 in the West Coast, and we still haven't even gotten to the Q&As, and we want to answer as many questions as we can. So, metagame predictions and preparation. Kyle.
That's all you're giving me? All right.
Yes.
So going into this event, I think everybody agrees Plasma will be the most popular deck. I mean, it's one of the most battle roads it has just been since it came out. It's just like an obvious archetype. You got the Deoxys, the Thundurus, Kyurem. There's so much at its disposal. Obviously, you have to be able to compete with this deck, otherwise you're not going to win. I would expect Plasma to be the biggest deck at Nationals. No question about that. Then you got Blastoise. Seems like number 2. I mean, there's just... The problem is, like, there's no way to counter all these decks, so you might just have to pick one of the top decks and run with it, unless you can come up with a really good rogue deck. But I'd say Plasma number 1, Blastoise number 2, and then you're going to see Darkrai. That's always going to be there. Probably the 3rd most popular deck. And maybe Gothitelle Excelgor, but it feels like that kind of got a little less popular as Battle Roads went on. So I would say those are probably the 4 top decks, and then you're always going to have the other little stuff like Eels and Garbodor and Kling, and that kind of stuff. But much less of those than the other decks.
Okay, that's fair. And what about preparation?
I mean, how do you prepare for an event with 1,000 people?
You should know. You've done it a lot.
Yeah, you tell us, Kyle. We have no idea what we're doing.
You don't want to know what I did.
Actually, I do know what you do. I've seen it.
You know there's no method to what I do. 2 years ago when I took second, I showed up to Nationals. I didn't have a deck built. And I think Wednesday I put together my deck. then what? Friday the tournament. So yeah, basically just keep an open mind to things. Don't be afraid to, like change some ideas, test with people. Just go with your gut. That's all you can do. Play whatever you think is going to give you the best chance to win. At the end of the day, you're just going to have to get lucky. That's pretty much all there is to it. With so many matchups, so many games throughout the weekend, you're going to have to get luck somewhere. It might have to come from your matchups, how often you go first, some flips here and there. But just play whatever you feel most comfortable with. That's really all you can do. I would say get some sleep, but I obviously don't follow that. I hardly ever sleep before events. I am probably the worst person to ask for advice on how to prepare for a tournament because I probably do everything wrong. You should probably ask someone else.
That's fair. Drew, you are not going to be playing at Nationals this year, is that correct?
Nope.
All right, but you're still going to be going, and you have played at many Nationals before, and you've actually done pretty well at some of them. So please offer your advice, and if you do have a metagame prediction, please do so.
I'm going to skip the metagame prediction.
Leave it to
I'll
the
just
people
go
who are
with
a little bit
advice.
more familiar with the metagame.
Yeah, I kind of like to play the most consistent deck in Nationals because, like Kyle said, it's just a huge field. You never know what you're going to play. Sure, you have an idea. You should be prepared for, like, the top decks, the Blastoise, the Plasma, the Darkrai, the Klinklang even. But I wouldn't really try to beat something specifically if it's, like, a bad matchup for me. I might take the loss if it's, like, a lesser played deck, like a tier 2 or 3 deck. Just hope I don't play it at the wrong time. And really test versus everything you can and get your matchups down. You have to know what you're doing or you're not going to go far. So really just put the time in and the effort and you should go far.
Very good advice. Very solid advice. That's probably the best way to put it. Potter?
As you know now, Sunday is only going to be 2 people. So that means on Friday and Saturday, potentially if you're doing well, you can have some very, very long days. And it seems like when you're tired after the few rounds because you didn't get that much sleep the night before, chug a Monster Energy drink, like eat a candy bar, get your energy back up. But that's not what's gonna hold you through the day. Have a sensible snack like an apple or something, and drink water, and that's gonna keep you feeling the best throughout the day. And you want to feel as good as you can, obviously, because it does affect how you play. Affects how I play. If I'm feeling really bad, I might just miss something. So I'm going to eat an apple and drink water. And that's the best advice for the actual tournament play that I can give.
That's good advice. And Pram.
Yeah, we'll see if you actually take your advice.
I will. Why wouldn't I?
I don't know. I've never seen you eat an apple at a tournament.
You never see me eat anything in a tournament.
Yeah.
What?
I've been with you at tournaments, man.
What have I eaten?
He just
Remember
gives
we
you
go
your
out to lunch.
Going out to lunch is different.
I think Ben is referring to snacks.
Yeah,
I've
like if you
never
eat
seen him. I've never seen him snack. How about that?
But I have drank plenty of water at tournaments. I always do that. I always go to the water fountain and get a drink. I do that a lot.
That's important, actually.
I'm gonna try to eat something good.
One
I'm gonna
time I
try.
drank too much water. Oh boy. That was a mistake. Let's just put it that way. All right. Pram.
Well, make sure to drink water, but like Krim said, don't drink so much. Because nothing's worse than trying to rush through a game.
Rain dance. Oops.
I'm moist.
Nothing's worse than trying to rush through a game so you can go. And just play with what you're comfortable with. Like, just play the deck you know best, and that'll probably give you the best odds of winning. And another tip: don't double nickel. That's a big one.
Or two. I mean, you might get pretty far if you do. You might even win the whole thing.
That's true. But other than that, you guys know what works best for you guys. But just sleep well, eat well, and prep well, and you'll be fine.
Good advice. I don't even think I can cover anything else that hasn't been mentioned already. It's just very simple stuff. Drink water.
Fill out your deck list.
Oh, One thing I want to say is, no matter what happens, I want you to wear something that makes you feel like you look good in it. Because if you look good, you feel good. And if you feel good, you play good. Look good, feel good, play good. Wise words of Deion Sanders. Mr. Prime himself.
It's funny because as silly as that sounds, it's actually accurate. Like, the mentality is, everything. Potter should be able to tell you guys everything there is to know about not needing or about not wanting to have, a negative mindset during these tournaments. And you just really want to stay focused. If you lose a couple of rounds or a round or whatever, it's a long tournament. You can always make that loss back up. But the moment that you derail, the moment that brain just says, no, you know what, I got unlucky or whatever, that's it, man.
Yeah.
You're going to need a lot of luck to snap out of that.
That's why I always think I'm the best.
It's true.
It works. It works.
Yeah. All right. So, you know what? We're going to go on break now, guys. Hopefully you guys have asked us plenty of questions. We're going to be picking some of the best ones that you guys have to so that we can answer them. They can be about absolutely anything. They can be about our Nationals preparation questions, about Canadian Nationals results, events that happen in Canadian Nationals, about our fantasy draft. They can be about whatever you guys want to come up with. Please ask us. We're going to take a short break. Been drinking a lot of water, so you know what they say. Do you know what they say, guys? Because I don't. All right, we're going to take a break. We'll be right back.
Let's go on break.
The moisture.